Whoops, I don't want to play that. So this is talking about Kushner's building in 666, what is it, Manhattan Avenue or whatever. It's in Manhattan. And he's, so this is going to pick up the story in 2016. By 2016, Kushner was searching for a way out, destined for a top job in his father-in-law's White House the following year. He found plenty of people to talk to, but no one who was buying. Discussions with Anbang, the Chinese insurance group, came to a halt sometime before its flashy chairman, Wu Xiao, landed in a Chinese jail. The Qatari finance minister, Ali Sharif El-Mahdi, met Kushner's father in 2017, although Charles Kushner has said he took the appointment out of respect and stressed there could be no deal. Then, with months to go before the $1.2 billion of mortgage payments fell due in February 2019, the Kushners won a reprieve, one that looked nothing like a favor from a foreign state. It was an investment from financial group Brookfield, which leased the whole building, paying for nearly a century of rent in advance.
Which is apparently unheard of.
Well, no, who pays 100 years of rent in advance? That's fucking nuts. That's nuts. Brookfield is the name that towers over the global investment industry, even if it receives less scrutiny or attention than rivals of similar size. Yet exactly what Brookfield is or how it operates is maddeningly, holy man, that's a tough one, maddeningly difficult to ascertain. To unpack the Canadian group's accounts is to discover not so much a company as a giant triangular jigsaw board that spreads across the world and covers assets worth $500 billion. The pieces are hundreds of corporate entities, all locked together by elaborate contracts, which give 40 people at the top the right to rule huge sections of the puzzle almost as if it were their own. So this is kind of just talking to the people that say, well, he was just working at Brookfield. You know, can't know what's going on here. It says here there's basically 40 people running the place, and he was running them for a couple of years. Those insiders wield such power that the companies below them could face risks similar to those of a pyramid control company. Over the past 6 months, the Financial Times has asked current and former executives and others who know Brookfield well to shine a light on this empire. Some refused to talk. Others requested anonymity, citing non-disclosure agreements and fear of reprisals. Let's go down a little further here. This is a super long article. If people want to check it out, the link will be in the show notes. So, partners today wields enormous power over Brookfield. Its 40 members own about 1/5 of Brookfield Asset Management, but have enough votes to appoint 9 of its 16 directors. A dual class structure means they can also overrule shareholder motions, even if they are supported by outside shareholders. 2 days before Brookfield bought the Kushner's office tower last August, an executive named Brian Kingston dialed into a conference call with analysts and casually disclosed that his team had just closed a $1.4 billion transaction involving a different set of New York properties. Brookfield was the seller, was also the buyer. More precisely, the buyer was Brookfield Asset Management, which sits a few rows from the top of the Brookfield Triangle and is sometimes known as Brookfield for short. This was already unusual. When the Brookfield Group buys an asset, the money usually comes from one of the investment funds it runs for outside investors. BAM doesn't do anything, Flat confirms. BAM being Brookfield Asset Management, never puts up any money for anything. That's why if you've read any of our materials, we're increasingly at the point where we generate way more cash than we need. But this time, BAM was in fact putting up money to buy a 28% stake in a bunch of New York office towers. And it was doing more besides. The buildings were owned by Brookfield Property Partners, a separate NASDAQ-listed company that sits further down the triangle and trades under the ticker BPY, and confusingly is also sometimes known as Brookfield for short, because BPY does not employ any property specialists. It delegates tasks such as identifying assets to buy and sell to other parts of the Brookfield empire. The Kushner deal was assembled from several pieces of the Brookfield empire. The lease was signed by a company named BSREP3 Nero LLC, a possible allusion to the empire who was blamed for the burning of Rome. That company is owned by a fund called BSREP3, which is managed by Brookfield Asset Management and was at the time controlled by BPY, all of which placed the deal where global finance blends into geopolitics on the jigsaw. The known links between Qatar and Brookfield all converge on the investment group's listed property fund, BPY. About 1/10 of the fund's assets are tied up in skyscrapers in Canary Wharf and Manhattan that are co owned by Qatar. But the connection goes further. Through a sovereign wealth fund, Doha is one of BPY's biggest investors, holding $1.8 billion worth of BPY preferred equity. The securities have a debt-like quality, and Qatar can force Brookfield Asset Management to buy them back for US $1.8 billion over the next 6 years.
Wow. That's
In
pretty good.
theory, Qatar has significant influence over BPY and is entitled to choose one person to sit on BPY's board and receive confidential information that other investors never see. Brookfield says the kingdom has never exercised either of those rights. The Qatar Investment Authority declined to comment. Both sides have previously indicated that when Brookfield was negotiating the $1.3 billion lease on 666 Fifth Avenue, a building that Charles Kushner had discussed with the Qataris in 2017, the kingdom was not involved. And this all gets interesting on the U.S. side of things because there's like a blockade of Qatar for a while and all that sort of stuff that we're not going to get into here because that's the more U.S. side of the map. But that's kind of an interesting breakdown of that Qatari deal. It makes it seem even a little more greasy. Now let's jump into let's jump over to this one quick. I'm interested if you've heard of this. Did you know that Brookfield helped buy Twitter?
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Brookfield.
I just found out today.
So this is from February 13th, 2025. Brookfield shutters the venture unit that helped Elon Musk buy Twitter. So this is actually even just in passing because the article is not really about that, but this is all I could find on it. So Brookfield Asset Management is quietly shut. So this would have been when Carney was, no, he had already quit by then, right? Brookfield Asset Management has quietly shuttered its venture capital focused arm, Brookfield Growth, according to people with knowledge of the matter. Brookfield Growth managing partner, Josh Raffelli, left the firm as a part of the pivot, said the people who asked not to be identified discussing private information. Brookfield is in the process of moving some Brookfield Growth assets and staff to a division known as Pine Grove Capital, said the people. Pine Grove describes itself as a capital solutions provider for the venture capital ecosystem and acquired SVP Capital last year. A Brookfield spokesperson said the firm's intention is that Pine Grove will house all its venture investments, but declined to comment further. Brookfield Growth provided $250 million in 2022, so that would have been when Carney was in charge.
Whenabouts? I think he was. I think
he was 2020. He got in there as the chair in 2022 to 2025.
Yeah. So, I mean, that would be interesting to know if it was before or after, probably after, but
if he wasn't the thing, he was still pretty high up already by then, right? What was he for the first 2 years?
Vice chair and chair, I think. I mean, I saw those clips of him today that's like, I wasn't vice chair, I was chair. Like he had to make sure that.
So he was the vice chair, then the chair. Or either way, he was up there. So Brookfield provided $250 million in 2022 to help Elon Musk buy out of Twitter Inc., the social media platform now known as X. The check, now he's talking about banning it. The check was the largest ever written by Brookfield Growth at the time and somewhat different from its other bets. So I'm not going to get into all the rest of that. The only reason I brought that up is because I thought the Twitter thing was kind of interesting. And then if we jump over to this one, which is The Boring Company, April 20th, 2022, or Carney years again, The Boring Company presents C-round funding announcement. Defeating traffic is the ultimate boss battle. Even the most powerful humans in the world cannot defeat. Well, if they have a helicopter, they can. So this is from Elon Musk directly. The Boring Company is pleased to announce our C funding round of $675 million, led by VY Capital and Sequoia Capital, with participation from blah, blah, blah. Where are we here? We're also happy to share that a group of leading real estate partners of strategic importance are also joining the round, including Brookfield, Lennar, Tishman Speyer, and Dakra. The Boring Company was founded by Elon Musk to revolutionize transportation. Now, I don't know how much of these 3/4 or 675 million Brookfield contributed to that, but it's just another interesting little in bed with Brookfield and Elon Musk, who Carney seems to pretend to hate now. I'll go back to this one. Tesla Energy, Brookfield and Dakar again. Who's Dakar? Because their name is all over the place too. Tesla Energy, Brookfield, and Dakar create the first Tesla solar neighborhood in Austin. So this is from July 11th, 2021. Not only is Tesla building a $1.1 billion gigafactory in Austin to make trucks and other vehicles, but Tesla Energy is also creating a solar-powered local neighborhood. Last week, Tesla Energy announced that the first Tesla solar neighborhood called Sun House at Easton Park, 12 miles east of downtown Austin. Tesla is working with Brookfield Asset Management and Dakar. Neighborhood solar installations across all housing types will reshape how people live, Elon Musk, CEO of Tesla, said in a news statement. The feedback we get from the solar and battery products used in the community will impact how we develop and launch new products. Installation of Tesla V3 solar roof tiles and Powerwall 2 battery storage began in June at select homes in the Sunhouse community on land in Brookfield Residential's Easton Park master planned residential community. The initiative brings together multiple parts of our organization with innovative and forward-thinking partners that share a commitment to advance the development of sustainable communities. Brian Kingston, CEO of Brookfield's real estate business, as consumers increasingly seek out energy security alongside sustainable places to live, combining Tesla's solar technology with Brookfield's real estate and renewables development capabilities will help us meet demand for environmentally responsible communities in the future. Tesla Solar will provide ongoing oversight of the home's energy systems. That sounds invasive. And Brookfield's renewable power business will integrate a community-wide solar program to serve broader public use needs in surrounding neighborhoods. Brookfield Residential will also incorporate a suite of technology features, including electric vehicle charging stations in each home and throughout the community.
Nice. Yeah. So he did join in 2020. I don't know why. We did talk about that the other day. I don't know why we thought 2022. Maybe one of his positions changed or something in 2022. But yeah, Brookfield, it was in May 2022 when the $250 million investment in Twitter happened. So Carney was already there since 2020 as vice chair.
So he would have been
Or
there.
he started as vice chair.
He would have been there for the Boring Company one as well. Because that was what's the date on it? April 20th, 2022. Back to back. He was having an Elon week. Okay. Did I lose my share? Okay, let's jump over to this one now. This is a new one now. I mean, this is a new one I just came across. This is a press release from 2 months ago. Brookfield to invest 20 billion euros in France's AI infrastructure. So what's that, like 35 billion Canadian?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know where the euro is.
Can't we have some AI infrastructure in Canada, Mark?
Did you see the comparison of all the investments of Brookfield, Canada, and all the rest? It's unbelievable.
At the opening of today's art, and then they want to tell the pension fund to invest in Canada, though. At the opening of today's Artificial Intelligence Action Summit in Paris, Brookfield Asset Management, Brookfield, together with French President Emmanuel Macron. I mean, this is like right before Carney went there and met him too and schmoozed him up about free trade from Canada. I mean, this is disgusting. Emmanuel Macron announced a 20 billion euro infrastructure investment program to support the deployment of artificial intelligence infrastructure in France.
1.5, let's say.
The Brookfield investment will be targeted across data centers and associated infrastructure sectors, which are vital for AI deployment.
So 30,000 million Canadian dollars. 30 billion, 30,000 million.
Up to 15 billion of data center investment will be led by Brookfield's portfolio company, Data4, one of Europe's largest data center developments, headquartered in Paris. Data4 has existing plans to build over 500 megawatt of data center capacity located across several regions in France, with an ambition to triple that by 2030. Can you just check quickly how France gets most of their power?
Nuclear, but I mean, it's is how green is that, right? So data, maybe that's why they chose France.
Maybe. Triple that by 2030 as part of today's announcement. With this, France is projected to be the single largest market for Data4 in Europe. The investment of a further so it would seem like Carney's more invested in France than Canada. The investment of a further 5 billion euro is planned by Brookfield in France across associated AI infrastructure, such as data transfer, chip storage, and energy generation. The total 20 billion euro investment is projected to be delivered by 2030. President Emmanuel Macron declared the 20 billion euro investment by Brookfield, notably through Data 4, will allow France to remain in the race alongside major AI players. Why the fuck would a Canadian guy like Mark Carney be helping other countries get ahead of us?
Well, he's European, Darren. He's not
No,
Canadian.
but
He
he
said he
tore
was
that
European.
passport up. He said he tore that passport up. He said he tore that up. So now he's here giving these guys money to do their AI, and what do we get? We get nothing.
Well, you know why, Darren? Because he's cut back so many green jobs in Canada that he's got credits to use in other industries that aren't green, like building AI infrastructure. That's
Okay,
what the
well,
net
let
zero
me
is all
just read
about.
the
Right?
last line.
You just slash stuff somewhere else and invest it in a different industry somewhere else. I mean, so nuclear power is 67% of France's total generation.
What's
And
the rest?
hydropower 14%, wind and solar 13%, fossil fuels 4%.
So
And then bioenergy and other renewables 2%. So yeah. So interesting.
the last line,
Maybe that's how they're able to do it, right? You can put non-green stuff in areas that are supposedly green.
but we don't get nuclear.
We have some
We
nuclear.
have some, but we don't get more.
I know, it's crazy. Because why would you do that? Because then you can't
Do
use your carbon
windmill.
credits in other countries, right? You
All
need
right, so
somewhere you need to collapse something to get your credits for somewhere else.
here's the last line of Macron's thing. We must not slow down. The world is accelerating. This is a battle for independence. So thanks, Carney.